Hello, welcome in everybody. What's up? It is Sunday night. What's up, gamer? How is your beautiful face? I'm surprised you made it in. No, I didn't tell anybody I was going live. I didn't know I was going live. Damn dog outside will not shut the hell up. He's barking at another dog that isn't even paying attention to him. That's weird. I wasn't sure what I was going to do today. But all y'all in here can't hit that thumbs up. It ain't going to hurt you, I promise. It's free. You gotta spend your money on it. I wanted to check and see if I actually give out my own memberships this month. Oh, look. I forgot. Let's go ahead and give them up because Maze will be here shortly. Let's see who got it. Mary Reyes. Mary Reyes. Murphy's Thoughts. Carolyn Bloomfield. Nancy B. the Scratcher. Is that what it says? Clover Stitcher. Clover Stitcher. Names that people come up with for a YouTube channel. It's funny as shit. Sweet PT. Disorderly Conduct. Aurora. I think I said that name right. I can never say that name. Nelly Macedo? Macedo? I don't know. And Breezy. Well, welcome in, new members. I think that's the first time I've ever given out all the memberships and do not know not one person I gave a membership to. Never heard not one of those names before. So what's been up on these streets lately? I ain't been around. Figured maybe if I, just stay away for a little bit, my name will stay out of shit. That doesn't work very well. I could probably stay away a whole year and my name still be brought up. Interesting. Considering, I'm a true crime channel, not a fucking, what is the name? Crama or drama, but either one. Everyone is messing with everyone else. That's good. Like, good. Y'all keep messing with each other. Leave me the fuck alone. I just love my channel because I don't have that drama like everybody else has. And we don't do that drama over here. Wait till somebody else goes live and do the drama on their channel. But I was looking, y'all. I am wanting to do like nostalgic, I think that's how you say the word, trivia. I think that's how you say the word. Dude, you can never get the sleep that you miss, so what the hell? I didn't say memberships, I said subscriptions. But so yeah, I found a lot of channels that we can use to do the trivia. But yeah, I found some cool channels. Tell you what, I subscribe to so many channels and I don't even know half the fucking channels I'm subscribed to. I'm going through and I'm looking like, what the hell? Did I really subscribe to them? Opie, darling, dopey. Okay. I don't know who the fuck that is. Okay. I don't remember the name of the channel, so I'm looking for it. There's like 3 of them. And they had like really good um thingies. I can think of the name of it. I'm looking for them. And as I look through these, you know how many channels are no longer producing content or no longer here? Like it's weird. It was pretty out today too. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was pretty out. A couple times I went outside. I belong to I subscribe to a lot of channels. A lot of damn channels. Damn, Benny, how many damn channels you got? I swear I've just passed at least 6 different channels for Benny Keys. At least 6. Stop it. Browse. Browse. Stop. Where's my shoe? That's what I thought. got a bunch of channels for dogs too. Bunch of channels for dogs. That's funny. Anybody else live, gamer? Share the warrior princess. Okay. Okay, whatever you say. Where the hell are them damn channels? I'm really stuck on how many channels don't do anything anymore. I mean, they're still here. They're just doing it on the channel. Come on. They got all kinds. They got Disney ones, mixed trivia, general knowledge. They got one's called "Are You Smarter Than a High School Student?" Nostalgia. Knowledge quiz questions. Every 90s kid. Can you remember the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s? Fucking dog, shut up. Dog just barks. He barks to bark. I watched him one day for like about 20 minutes, and there was Justice Lee dangling off his fucking kennel. It was like stuck on the kennel, and it was just blowing around, like just moving. He sat there for 20 minutes barking at this stupid leaf. A stupid leaf. All right, so let's see. Only 80s and 90s kids will ace this quiz. I don't want to do like the early 2000s. I want to do like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Guess the song from the 80s. God, look at their hairdos. Holy shit. Oh, guess the 90s movies? They got finished the lyrics too. I think we might play one of those. I like that one. Because it's even if you don't know the words, once that music starts, you know the words for some reason. I wonder how many would like to do that. I don't see anything that says 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's just either 80s and 90s or 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s. But a lot of good songs did come out in the early 2000s. Oh, here's one 1950s to the 1979. And I don't consider myself like a 70s baby, even though I was born in 78. I was born in the last 2 years of the 70s. You might as well say it was already the 80s. Guess the movie by the song. That seems interesting. Guess the 80s TV show theme song. Old slang. You can get 10 of, can you get 10 of these? Trivia challenge. Do you remember these classic phrases? Bet you can't get half of these. That seems pretty interesting. Only 1% of 80s fans will get all 40. Retro quiz maniac. 80s movies, multiple choice. General knowledge, everyone should know. Oh, 90s. Yeah, it's not that one. No. I have a feeling that our spring is going to be cut short, though, because it's already been in the 80s for a few days. And then yesterday, I want to say it was like the low 60s, but it was raining all day, too. Or it started raining around like 2 o'clock yesterday. Remember the 80s? Only 80s kids will pass. I hate that guess the logo thing. I think we would do good by playing this one of these games. Especially the 90s theme ones. I think a lot of people would like playing that one. But I don't know. What do you member from the 90s. Can you pass the 80s and 90s memory? What was it? Memory test? How much do you remember about the 90s? Only 90 gamers can pass this quiz. I don't remember that many. Guess the 90s song. Damn dogs. Oh my god, I wish he'd shut up. I really wish he'd shut up. Uh, so what's up, everybody? I'm trying to figure out. Let's refresh it. Let's just go into this one instead of just going down the list. Just go into one of the channels. Fun quiz questions. And some of these I'm gonna have to have people up on the panel to play because everybody being in the comments, it'll get confusing. Guess the singers mashup. No, I'm okay. Yeah, I don't think I wanna. None of them ones. Uh, let's go to quiz 2.0. See what that's about. I don't know. I just was in there. What the hell? Let's see what this is about. I see Urkel on the front page, so has to be the 90s. And if you know me, you know I love Steve Urkel. I'm a big Family Matters fan.
How well do you remember the 90s? Test your memory with this ultimate 90s quiz. Keep track of your score and tell me at the end how you did. Let's get started. Guess the TV show.
What did I do? I don't even know
The
that TV
answer is
show.
Freaks and Geeks.
Oh. Okay, well.
Here, Steve. I discontinued my wife's bra, yet my wife lives on. If I don't
Married with
Who
Children.
was talking?
Al Bundy.
It was Al Bundy from Married with Children.
Here, Steve. I discontinued my wife's bra, yet my wife lives on. If I don't get her.
Which album cover is this?
You guys can't see it, so I can't see it.
It's Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy, and the Infinite Sadness. What famous U.S. space telescope was launched in 1990?
I want to say the Voyager, but I'm probably wrong.
That was
wrong.
B, the Hubble Space Telescope. Guess the character.
Steve Urkel.
This is Steve Urkel from Family
Yeah,
Matters.
you know.
Who sang the song Barbie
Wait.
Girl?
Wait, shut up. Why ain't it doing anything?
That's right. That was Aqua.
It's not letting me pause it.
Who became the president in 1993?
Thank you. A little bit of a known fact. Jaleel White, who played Steve Urkel on the Family Matters in the 90s, has his own strain of marijuana. It's called Purple Urkel. Just a little known fact. Clinton. Bush. H. It was Clinton.
The answer is B, Bill Clinton. Do you recognize this TV show?
Everybody Loves Raymond.
It's
Yeah,
Everyone
this is
Loves
going to be one of
Raymond.
those ones that we have to do on screen.
Save the Ozone Celebrity Bus next Saturday. It's going to be Bruce Willis and Demi, Rob Lowe.
Guess the voice.
The Hillary from Fresh Prince.
It's Hillary Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Save the Ozone Celebrity Bus next Saturday. It's going to be Bruce Willis and Demi, Rob Lowe.
Who is this?
Spice Girls.
The answer is the Spice Girls. Which famous trial began in 1994 and was watched worldwide?
I think it was OJ.
It was C, the O.J. Simpson trial. Guess this character.
It's Mario Lopez. He's a Slater.
It's A.C. Slater from Saved by the Bell. What major online company was founded in 1998 by two Stanford students?
Yahoo.
It was B, Google.
Oh, oops. The one that we all fucking use. Look
Guess
at
the
that.
singer.
Alanis Morissette.
It's Alanis Morissette.
Soup? I can make my own soup. 5 cups, chopped porcini mushrooms.
I don't know who that was.
It's Elaine Bennis
Oh.
from the show Seinfeld.
Never really watched that show.
Soup? I can make my own soup. 5 cups, chopped porcini mushrooms.
Which famous comet made its closest approach to Earth in 1997?
Haley's. I'm trying to find the
It
lyrics.
was C,
Guess
the
the
comet
lyrics.
Hale Bopp. Who is this?
Tommy from the Rugrats.
It's Tommy Pickles from the children's show Rugrats. Who sang the song Semi-Charmed Life?
I don't even know the title, let alone the group.
The answer is Third Eye Blind.
Oh, I know the group, just don't know the song.
What toy had tiny collectible houses and figures that fit in the palm of your hand?
Polly Pocket.
It's a Polly Pocket. Guess the TV show.
Damn it. Martin.
The answer is Martin.
I picked you up at my dad's El Camino, a little Zeppelin on the 8-track.
Dan
Recognize
Connor.
that voice?
Dan Connor.
It's Dan Connor from Roseanne.
I picked you up at my dad's El Camino, a little Zeppelin on the 8-track.
Who
Boone's
became
Farm.
the president of South Africa in 1994?
Oh, I know that name. Let me see if I can see it. Yeah, Mandela.
It was A, Nelson Mandela.
I just couldn't think of his name.
Who was this?
Fucking bitch.
This is Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Which web browser was first released in 1995?
Firefox. Or Netscape, one of the two.
That's right, C, Netscape Navigator. Guess the album.
Thriller, maybe?
The answer is Soundgarden,
Shit.
Super Unknown.
Oh, there's one.
Opportunity here to do something special, to get away from the old ways we're learning in schools.
That was Zach.
It's Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
I finished the lyric.
Opportunity here to do something special, to get
It's an
away from
80s
the old
challenge.
ways we're learning in schools. Stress and fun.
Who became president of Russia after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991?
Gorbachev. Nope.
That was A. Boris Yeltsin.
Okay. I don't know.
Guess the band.
Oh, Blackstreet.
Correct.
Oh, NSYNC.
NSYNC.
Damn.
Who is this?
Miss Doubtfire.
The answer is Mrs. Doubtfire,
Wasn't much into the preppy
who sang the song All Eyes on Me in 1996.
Tupac. Preppy boy bands. I wasn't into them. I was into R&B shit.
That was Tupac Shakur off his double album. Which animated movie became the highest grossing film of 1994?
Lion King, Aladdin, or Toy Story? Toy Story. No, Aladdin. No,
It's A. The Lion
the
King.
one I didn't say.
Lucky. I mean, it's obvious we're not ready to be parents. What would we do? I'll probably bring it up.
The redhead from that 70s show.
It's Donna
There you go.
Pizziotti from That 70s Show.
Lucky. I mean, it's obvious we're not ready to be parents. What would we do? I'll probably bring it up.
Do you know this character's name?
Cher. From
It's Cher from the movie Clueless.
that's it. Exactly what I am right now, clueless.
What famous cloning breakthrough happened in 1996?
Fuck if I know. Was it a dog, a cat, or a sheep? I think it was a sheep.
C. The first cloned sheep named Dolly.
Dolly.
Guess the TV show.
King of Queens.
It's The King of Queens. What TV network became famous for its slime and kid game shows in the 1990s?
Nickelodeon. Y'all remember that show?
That
Double
was
Dare?
the Nickelodeon.
But the earlier days of Double Dare.
Who is this?
Lenny Kravitz.
The answer is Lenny Kravitz.
Still ugly.
Quantum Leap ahead of the 4000 model, which we replaced earlier this year.
Tim
This is
Allen.
150,000.
Who was talking? That was Tim Allen from Home Improvement.
Quantum Leap ahead of the 4000 model, which we replaced earlier this year. This is 150,000.
Which Canadian singer released the album Jagged Little Pill in 1995?
Alanis Morissette. I used to love her. Hey, Matt. What's up, old man?
It was B. Alanis Morissette.
I'm thinking about doing some kind of
the
trivia shit on the
character.
channel. What's eating Gilbert Grape? I think, no, that wasn't him.
It's Jack Dawson from the movie Titanic,
Same person, just wrong movie.
who sang the song I Want It That Way.
Backstreet Boys. What you been up to?
That was the Backstreet Boys. In 1991, the Soviet Union broke apart into how many independent countries?
Fuck if I know. 12? 15.
It was C. 15.
Things of him as late as the 1930s, aren't there? And it's just about Columbus, until someone asked the Viking.
Michelle Gellar.
It's Buffy Summers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Things of him as late as the 1930s, aren't there? And it's just about Columbus, until someone asked the
Which
Viking.
is Michelle Gellar.
Which famous sitcom about a Seattle radio psychiatrist premiered in 1993?
Frasier.
The answer is B. Frasier. Guess the singer.
Janet Jackson. I'm even doing
You
shitty
got
at
it.
this.
It's Janet Jackson. Which classic teen movie featured the line "as if"?
Clueless.
It's from A, Clueless.
Shut it up.
What is the name of this TV show?
The dinosaurs.
Correct answer is Dinosaurs. Who sang the song Don't Speak?
Oh,
The answer is No Doubt.
damn it. Couldn't think of the group's name.
Which character is this?
Austin Powers. Fuck. How did I forget that group?
It's Austin from Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Guess the album cover.
Fuck if I know. They had a bunch of roses and faces.
This was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
I've been to their club in Fort Lauderdale.
Again, the day everybody exchanged their
Urkel.
school pictures. Oh, I understand.
Remember that voice?
Urkel.
It's Steve Urkel from Family Matters.
Again, the day everybody exchanged their school pictures. Oh, I understand. I'll just stick around.
How did you do? Tell me in the comments how many you got correct and hit the thumbs up if you
Not
think
enough.
the 90s were awesome. Thank you so much for playing.
What's this?
"60 questions to test your nostalgic knowledge." Which console is this?
Oh, see. Nope, we can't do this one either.
PlayStation 2. Who played Harry Potter?
Oh no, this ain't the right one either. This is Hip Hop Edition. I wouldn't know shit about this. Not
Welcome to
much.
Hot Quiz. Get ready for another Finish the Lyric challenge, featuring the greatest hip hop hits of all time. Let's get started.
She say, "Do you love me?" I tell her only partly.
Don't know. I just know that from
You love my
TikTok.
dad and my mom, I'm sorry.
Oh, look, they got an Eminem one. Bet you I know that one.
And I feel just like a rock star. I still see your shadows in my room. Like the love that I gave you. You used to call me on my cell phone.
I don't know any of these songs.
Every night when you need my love. Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
Ugh.
Certified boogeyman.
Okay, let's see if this one works better. Just going through
Welcome to Quiz Paradise.
quizzes that I could play on the channel. Like nostalgia ones, like from the 70s and 80s and 90s. The last one I didn't even, yeah, not what I was looking for. Hell, I didn't even know any of those songs. Daisy. Daisy. I think my husband forgot about my dog. Daisy. But since I'm not on the computer, I can't show it, so it's kind of hard to do ones like that. But I only came on to give out the 10 memberships, which I didn't know not one of the 10 people. Bro, stop. I don't know. Trying to just do something different. Get away from all the bullshit. Especially all the bullshit I don't have nothing to do with. Oh, shut up out there. So I just found out that they did a new Netflix series on Michael Jackson. I don't know if it's a documentary series, but I know it's a new documentary. This is not working. What the hell?
Test your music knowledge and try to
Close it. Old sayings you grew up hearing. Browse. Stop. Aggravating dog. What y'all been up to? I messaged Miss Pam the other day, but she never, I guess she didn't get it. Oh, fucking animals. I did not sign up for all these dogs. Come on, get up here. been a boring ass weekend. Songs that scared the 80s kids. I don't know about that. There you go. Back at it again. Nancy Grace, A History of Victimizing Victims. Kind of nerve to say that. Gotta have some nerve. Gotta have them balls. No, she wouldn't give a fuck anyway, because she would look at it like he's a peasant anyway. He is nobody important. She don't care.
The storm came rolling like a wild beast. We try to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath. When Wind took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand, no, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath. Wind took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand, no, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath. Wind took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out but you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away. Left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away. Left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away. Left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a shadows dance? Will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend. The struggle, the pain, all you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, wind took it all away. Left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend. The struggle, the pain, all you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, wind took it all away. Left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed, ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain, all our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand, no, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed, ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain, all our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand, no, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend. The struggle, the pain, all you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. A whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath. When took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend. The struggle, the pain, all you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. A whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath. When took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend. The struggle, the pain, all you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. A whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand, no, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand, no, you won't comprehend the struggle, the pain. All you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's rough hand, or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I had in nature's wrath, when took it all away, left me in the aftermath with nothing but pain and a heart that's torn. Will you lend a hand or keep feeding your lies? Are you real or fake? In this twisted world where shadows dance, will you be my light or just a passing glance? When the storm subsides and silence takes a hold, there's a story being told. Are you real or fake? Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? The storm came roaring like a wild beast. We tried to ride out what nature unleashed. Ripped our home apart, left us tears and pain. All our things destroyed by winds and rain. But you won't understand. No, you won't comprehend. The struggle, the pain, all you know how to do is shame. Accuse me of lying, screaming loud and clear, but I won't back down. Whisper in the storm, your words deceive. Are you for real or just make believe? Can I trust your hand or will you let me break? Tell me now, are you real or fake? Lost all I
On May 24, 2004, co-workers of 53-year-old Okie Albert Kite Jr., who went by Al, drove to his house to check on him after he failed to show up to work, something he had never done before. Inside his Aurora, Colorado townhome, officers discovered a horrific scene. Al had been bound, tortured for hours, and killed in his own basement. The killer cleaned up, removed key evidence, and disappeared, leaving behind only a small amount of DNA and a trail that pointed to a man who wasn't who he claimed to be. More than 20 years later, Al's murder remains unsolved, and detectives are still working to identify the murderer. Spotify, or whatever platform you use. So the murder investigation of Al Kite Jr. is an interesting one, and I'm not the first person to cover it. In fact, it's been featured on multiple television shows. And I think one of the main reasons for that is obviously the case is horrific, but it comes down to the killer. Just based on what we've covered on this show, I'm not going out on a limb here. I have to tell you that the killer that we're trying to identify in this case may be one of the most dangerous people we've ever talked about. And the fact that he could still be out there somewhere is extremely alarming. All murderers being out on the loose is a bad thing. But when we talk about the specifics of this case and how this person planned for this murder and what they did to clean up after themselves, I think you're going to agree with me. We definitely have a lot to cover. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's dive into this week's case. Okie Albert Kite Jr., who went by Al, was born on May 7th, 1951 in North Carolina, where he grew up with his sister Barbara. At some point, he moved to Aurora, Colorado, and people who knew him all said the same thing. He was a genuinely nice guy, always happy, laughing, and smiling. By May 2004, Al was divorced and living alone in his townhome, which was located at 2002 South Helena Street in Aurora, just outside of Denver. He had also recently started dating a woman named Linda, and from everything we know, they were both really excited about the relationship. Al had worked as an accountant for more than 3 decades, and he was well liked at work. He was also known for being extremely punctual, so when Al didn't show up for work on Monday, May 24th, that immediately stood out. So his co-workers went to his house to check on him, and when they got the blue 1983 GMC Sierra pickup truck wasn't there, and no one answered the door. They also spoke with neighbors, but no one had seen him since Saturday, May 22nd. At that point, they called in a welfare check, and when officers arrived, they found that the front door was locked, the garage door was locked, and all the windows were secure. There were no obvious signs of forced entry, so they had to force their way inside. Upstairs, everything looked normal. Al was known to be very neat, and nothing appeared to be out of place, except for one thing: the kitchen sink, which had been filled with bleach. Sitting in the bleach were several kitchen knives that belonged to Al, along with a drinking glass and a set of keys. There was also a honing rod, which was typically used to realign the blades of knives. And although that was odd, things would only get more concerning when officers went to the finished basement, which had a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom. At first glance, everything looked okay. But when they went into the bedroom, they were met with a horrific scene. Al was found inside, and there was blood everywhere, on the floors, on the walls, even the ceiling. It was clear that he had been murdered and had been dead for at least a day. According to investigators, Al was found fully clothed, lying face down on the floor with his feet slightly under the bed frame. Additionally, his head and upper torso were covered by a small blue bath mat. When the bath mat was eventually moved, it became clear just how brutal the attack had been. His face was bruised and covered with injuries that extended down to his neck and shoulders. He had a large laceration on the back of his head, and his throat had been cut so deeply that it looked like he was almost decapitated. Prior to his death, Al had been tied up and tortured. The bindings themselves were gone, but the marks left behind told investigators what they needed to know. The lead detective later told Denver 7 that Al's hands had been elaborately tied to his ankles with rope. He was also bound around the upper arm, above the elbow, and twice above the knee. The rope had been wrapped multiple times in different cross patterns, and experts later estimated that it would have taken over 40 feet of rope to do this. The bottoms of Al's feet were also exposed, and they were covered in wounds and bruises. There were also bruises throughout his body, showing he had been beaten with multiple blunt objects. An autopsy later showed that he had 11 stab wounds in total, above the eyeballs, into his eardrums, down through his shoulders, and across his upper torso. And in addition to those injuries, he also had that deep cut to his throat that I discussed earlier. Now, the worst part of all of this is that they were able to determine that none of the stab wounds or the blunt force injuries appeared to be fatal, and based on the evidence, it was clear that these had been inflicted for hours before the final cut to his throat ultimately killed him. And so, as you can see, this is a horrific scene. And if you're watching on YouTube, then you've already seen some of the images from the crime scene, including the sink that's full of bleach with the knives, the glass, and the keys. And there's a few things that we can deduce for what we have here, what we've talked about so far. First off, the entire crime appears to be isolated to this bedroom located in the basement, and that will become very important later in the story. But you have to ask yourself, how did they get down there? What occurred? And there's a few theories you can go through as you're trying to hypothesize what happened here. But the most likely scenario is that whoever was at the home, more than likely, because there's no signs of forced entry, Al knew this person. He felt comfortable with them enough to at least let them inside. And then you would have to ask the question, well, why would they go to the basement? Because it doesn't appear that there was any struggle on the main floor. So technically, you can assume that Al went voluntarily. Now, on one hand, you could argue that he maybe went because he was being held at knife point. On the other hand, you could make a very strong argument that he went down to that basement because he and this other person had business down there. And again, this will become a critical part of the story when we talk about the potential suspect. Now, as far as the actual injuries to Al, there's two ways you can go with this. On one hand, you could say this is just a sadistic monster who got off on torture, and that's where their gratification came from, torturing Al for hours before ultimately killing him. On the other hand, again, as we talk about more things, this could have been very calculated and, in fact, been done to extract certain information. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but there's certain things that you can take from this crime scene that may give us some insight into who our killer is. Speaking of the killer, when it comes to the crime scene itself and what they did to avoid detection and apprehension, on one hand, you could say this is definitely a professional. This isn't the first time that they've killed someone, and clearly they felt comfortable being around a dead body. On the other hand, you could say it's just someone who's fascinated by murder and had been thinking about this for a long time and took a lot of measures to prepare, watching documentaries and movies and TV and reviewing other cases to determine what was the best course of action to take to give them the highest likelihood of not being caught. So I don't like to go down one track and as a profiler would and say, yes, this is definitely someone who's killed multiple people in the past, and that's why they knew what to do after the crime. I can see where they're coming from. And if you made me choose, I would definitely lean in that direction. There have been many instances in the past. Take, for example, Bryan Kohberger, where it's an intelligent guy. He's well planned. He thinks he's thought of everything. And there were multiple missteps in those murders that led to his apprehension. So if this is someone who is doing it for the first time, regardless of what they did to try to prevent them from being caught, more than likely they're going to make a mistake and we're going to be able to capitalize on that. But here, one of two things. Either they got extremely lucky or they knew exactly what they were doing. And although the suspect did a good job of cleaning up the crime scene, there were assumptions that could be made based on observations. After the officers found Al, detectives and crime scene investigators were called to the scene. And based on what they were seeing, it was clear the killer had been very careful about where the violence occurred. There was no obvious blood anywhere outside the basement bedroom. And as I just mentioned, the killer took the time to clean up. The bindings were removed, the knives used to stab Al were placed in bleach in the kitchen sink, and the entire crime scene was wiped down. The killer even took the trash with them, which included the bottle of bleach. And here's the craziest part. The killer also showered inside the home, taking the bath towels with them. And along with those towels, they also took one of Al's shirts and a pair of his pants. And on their way out, they took Al's truck, his phone, and his wallet. So this is a little contradictory, right? If this is a trained killer, you would think they wouldn't want anything connecting them to the body. On the other hand, the fact that they were willing to stay in the home after killing Al and they felt that comfortable there shows a level of planning and a comfort being around dead bodies, as I mentioned earlier. But then on the way out, they wear their victim's clothing. They take his truck, his phone, his wallet. That could link them back to the murder. But here's the way I look at it, and it's a morbid way of thinking about it. You have to imagine that unless the suspect brought a second set of clothing, based on the crime scene, they were absolutely covered in blood. So what's more of a risk? Leaving the house in your own clothing, covered head to toe in blood, or wearing your victim's clothing for a short period of time and dumping them as soon as you can? I'm going to go with the latter because most people aren't going to see and go, wait, that's my buddy Al's t-shirt, unless it's like a specific shirt. So clearly this might not have been the plan. In fact, I would argue that it wasn't. Why would you want to shower in this place where your DNA could potentially be flushed down the drain? And yet it was a necessary risk because they knew, based on the circumstances of the murder itself, they had no choice being covered in blood. And investigators spent more than a week in the house trying to find a shred of evidence they could tie to the perpetrator. And they got lucky. There was a single drop of blood on the stairs leading down to the basement. And that stood out because there was no blood anywhere else in the home outside of the bedroom. And detectives believed it could belong to the killer, possibly from an injury during the attack. That blood was collected and entered into CODIS, the FBI's combined DNA index system. But so far, there have been no matches. However, that DNA will come back up later in this story. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Cravings aren't just about nicotine. They're about habit. That hand-to-mouth motion, oral fixation, the momentary pause. When that loop is broken, cravings spike. Watching the episode, you got the magnets. That's probably my favorite. And now it's your turn. So use my code DETECTIVE to get your free gift in processing anything that they could find. And while they were doing that, officers were out searching for Al's missing belongings. According to the Denver Post, Al's truck was found a few blocks away from his home in the 15300 block of East Evans Avenue. And if I'm saying that wrong, it's 15300. I'm sure there's someone from that area who's going to be like, oh, it's not 15300, but that's just how it rolled off the tongue to me. I apologize if I got that wrong, but overall 15300 block. Inside of Al's truck, there were a few strands of medium-toned brown hair. They were collected and sent off for testing, but I don't know if they ended up coming back to the killer or if they were a nothing burger, and law enforcement just hasn't disclosed that information to keep the killer on their toes. Overall, there has been no further details about these hairs. It could go one way or another. The one thing I would say, if we believe that there's one suspect, one killer, then even with the blood results not coming back to anyone, you would expect the blood to match the hair and that they would belong to the same person if it was in fact the killer. Again, this is information that investigators would have that they haven't disclosed publicly, and I can understand why. Al's phone was later recovered from a payphone booth at a Safeway grocery store in Denver. But by that point, it had been handled by multiple people and no useful evidence was recovered. It's unclear if detectives ever found Al's wallet. What we do know is that they learned his debit card had been used at a nearby Wells Fargo ATM at 9:59 p.m. on May 22nd. And I'm sure a lot of you are lighting up right now going, oh my God, I hope that they went to that Wells Fargo, because more than likely there was a camera at that ATM. And if you're one of those people, you're right. There was a camera there, and investigators did go to that location. And when they got the footage, they saw a man wearing a ski mask and gloves, and he was driving Al's truck. And he even used Al's PIN to withdraw the $1,000 from his account. And so what do we take from that? Well, we know that Al was tortured. And during that torture, he may have been asked a question about his PIN. And I can only imagine that he wouldn't have put up much of a fight and gave the suspect the PIN as soon as he asked, right? That would have been one of the questions. Do I think that was the sole reason for the torture? Absolutely not. I don't believe that this killing was motivated by a robbery, was financial in nature. I don't believe that. It may have been a part of it, but to me, this represents a killer needing a small amount of money to go on to the next location, to escape and get out of there without being detected. Hence the reason why he's withdrawing the cash from the ATM and not using the debit card along the way. That's going to leave a paper trail, a digital trail that investigators can follow. But by grabbing the cash, yes, he's going to be on camera, and I'm sure he knows that, which is why he's wearing the mask and gloves. But he's thinking, hey, this is the only shot they're going to get, and then I'm going to disappear. And that's exactly what he did. And for those of you watching on YouTube right now, you're seeing the footage of the suspect at the ATM. If you're on audio, I strongly recommend you mark the timestamp, come over and check it out. It is pretty chilling when you think about what transpired only a few hours prior to this. Again, it shows a level of preparation. My belief is that Al's killer went into his house under a false pretense. I believe he was invited in, so he wouldn't have been wearing a mask at that time. But clearly he had the forethought to bring the mask for one reason or another. And obviously part of that was to hide his identity after the fact by wearing the mask and gloves. So again, we're seeing a very sophisticated murder here where there are multiple steps that were planned out ahead of time to increase his odds of not being caught. This doesn't sound like a novice. This wasn't someone who during crime of passion decided to kill Al and then was scrambling afterward. This person went to Al's house knowing exactly what they were going to do. Now, at this point, with this new information and this new footage, detectives knew that Al had likely been killed prior to 9:59 p.m. on May 22nd, but they needed a more accurate timeline, so they conducted interviews with the people who knew Al the best. And what they learned is that no one had seen or heard from him after 3:30 p.m. on the 22nd. That morning, Al took his girlfriend Linda to the airport, and according to Oxygen, he then met up with his best friend Mike in Denver, where the two were working on a remodeling project. And at some point, Linda called Al during a layover, and everything seemed normal. He was upbeat, just like usual. By around 2 or 3 p.m., Al and Mike had wrapped up for the day, and the plan was to go home, clean up, and then go out that night. But Mike never heard from Al again. So that was between 2 and 3 p.m. when Al and Mike wrapped up, and then Linda called Al again at 3:30 p.m. And during that call, she noticed something was off. She said Al was very quiet, which was completely out of character for him. And after that call, she never heard from him again. And as far as investigators could determine, no one saw or heard from Al after that phone call. Neighbors reported seeing him earlier in the day, but nothing after. And no one reported hearing anything suspicious, even though the townhomes shared walls. One neighbor told Oxygen that the walls weren't thin, so it wouldn't be unusual not to hear anything. Now, detectives doing their job decided to test this theory out, so one detective went down into the basement bedroom and screamed as loud as he could, and no one in the surrounding units or outside could hear him. So it looks like that holds up. This may be a case where the murderer just got lucky, or you have to ask yourself, because of some prior knowledge, were they aware that these walls were thick? And if it were to happen in the basement, that would be the best place, because more than likely it wouldn't raise any attention. But overall, based on what they had been able to gather from witness testimony and talking to neighbors, end of it, but it wasn't. On May 18th, the man came back and said he had changed his mind. So he signed the rental agreement, paid Al half the month's rent along with a security deposit, which came to $1,000. Yes, the same amount taken from the ATM. Al also gave him a key to the home, the same key that would later be found in the kitchen sink. But after that, the man never came back. So yes, he had paid. Yes, he had a key, but he never moved in. And Al told Linda that the man had some furniture that wouldn't fit down the stairs. So he was still trying to figure all of that out before he moved in. But overall, the man never spent a night in the home. And while Linda was never able to see the man's face, detectives were able to find a neighbor who may have. That neighbor reported seeing a man with a cane walking into Al's home several days before the murder. He had dark hair, was well dressed, and appeared to be in his early 50s. Detectives were actually able to locate the rental agreement. It had been thrown away in the trash inside Al's home. Now, on that agreement, the tenant listed his name as Robert Cooper. Also in the trash was a note Al had wrote on a piece of mail, and it had the name Robert and a phone number. But when detectives started digging into that name, shocker, they quickly realized it wasn't real. In fact, every piece of information Cooper provided was false. The social security number belonged to a woman in Indiana, the address was tied to an elementary school in Denver, and the reference phone number traced back to a retirement village in Aurora. So detectives shifted their focus to the phone number, and they learned that the phone Cooper used was a burner phone purchased in March of 2004 at a convenience store about 25 minutes from Al's home. But here's the thing. He waited 31 days to activate it. Why would he do that? Well, it was 1 day longer than the store kept surveillance footage. So they didn't have a way to go back and see who actually purchased the phone, but they still had the phone number, so it gave them something to work with. Investigators found that Cooper had used it to contact around 100 people who were renting out properties in the Denver area. And based on that, detectives thought Cooper was hunting for a victim. Detectives were also able to determine that a large number of the calls Cooper made went to people connected to the University of Colorado Hospital. Detectives believe that he may be in that area, possibly looking at housing listings or scouting locations. They also noticed a pattern in how and when those calls were made. All of them happened outside normal work hours, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, which suggested that he may have had a job and he wouldn't be able to make those calls during the day. I would push back on that theory slightly and say that he could have also made those calls outside working hours, assuming that the people he was trying to contact would be more likely to pick up outside those hours. Again, it's all speculative. It's all conjecture. We're entitled to our opinions. I just hate to focus on one particular profile, assuming that this person even had a job in that area. For all we know, he was a transient passing through. And when he did make calls, he was moving between different towns, which investigators believe was intentional to avoid being tracked to a single location. This stood out because it wasn't well known at the time that police could track calls still relatively him waiting 30 days, him moving from location. This is not someone who's a first timer. This is someone who has experience. This is someone who's put in the research, the planning. They know what they're doing. If they're not a professional, they're damn near close to it. There was also another detail that stood out that I think is extremely important, and it was in the middle of those 100 calls. There was about a 2 or 3 week period where he didn't make any calls at all, and detectives had wondered if it coincided with something like spring break or a temporary incarceration. I would add to that, maybe he could have been out of town. Maybe he was working on another murder. Maybe there was something going on in his personal life, maybe a family member where he had to put things on hold, or it could have been something to do with work. I covered the Honolulu Strangler out in Honolulu, Hawaii. And one thing where we, in our opinion, identified the serial killer was the fact that there were periods of time where he would go inactive, and we were able to cross-reference that with his job at the airport, and it lined up on certain occasions. Additionally, there was a period where he didn't commit any murders for multiple years, and what we learned is that when the murder stopped, it coincided with a tragic death of his son, who was involved in a motor vehicle accident. He was on the side of the road changing a tire, and was hit by a car. And for a period of time, for about 2 or 3 years, he didn't murder anyone. And once we identified him, we were able to go back and basically create like an overlay to put on the timeline of the murders with a timeline of his whereabouts and what was going on in his life, and it lined up. The same thing might be done here later. I usually say this for the perspective, but I have a lot to cover, so I'll say it now. This piece of information, there's not a ton you can do with it right now. However, if you develop a suspect and you're able to get some information on them during these periods of time, you can then create an overlay and try to match it up with these phone calls. And maybe there will be a pattern. So detectives kept digging into these phone calls, and they learned that out of all the people he contacted, Cooper only met with 3 in person. One of those individuals was a woman who taught Romanian at the University of Denver. She told authorities that when she met him at her property, the hair on the back of her neck stood up. During the visit, he made sexual comments toward her and then left. She didn't see where he went or if and he contacted her again. And the description she gave matched what detectives had already heard from the neighbor. She also noticed something else. She said Cooper had a slight Romanian accent, and when she asked him about it, he confirmed that he was in fact Romanian. I do have to preface here that if we're dealing with a professional who is meeting with these people in person and he's doing things to alter his appearance, is it possible that he was also altering his accent? Maybe he was specifically trying to talk in a Romanian accent because he felt like it would bring her guard down. It would make him more relatable. They'd have something in common. And so, yeah, he's going to confirm, oh, yeah, I'm Romanian, even though he may be Irish for all we know. So I just want to put that out there. I don't want anyone to take this episode and say, oh, we're clearly looking for a guy who's Romanian, because that may not be the case. That may be exactly what he wants us to do. And part of the reason I say this is because detectives also spoke with other people who had met with Cooper, but their descriptions didn't match the previous ones. They believed he was in his 30s, which conflicted with earlier descriptions of a man in his 50s. This led investigators to believe that he had been intentionally altering his appearance from meeting to meeting, making it difficult for anyone to give a consistent description, which is in line with what I just said, right? It's clearly the same person. They're tracking it back to the same phone number. And this guy's obviously doing things to alter how he looks, because he knows what his intentions are. And eventually, law enforcement is going to come knocking, and he knows what their tactics are. He knows what they're going to look into. Maybe he's former law enforcement, but for whatever reason, he's taking those measures, those extra steps, so that when they go down those rabbit holes, they lead nowhere. It's all dead ends because he's getting in front of every lead they may potentially develop. I'm telling you, this guy's good. And because of those discrepancies in the description, detectives did the right thing. They worked with all the witnesses to create multiple composite sketches. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out and none of them led to the suspect, and eventually the case went cold. But as I mentioned earlier, DNA would become a factor in this case. We're going to talk about it right after the break. Everybody's talking about weight loss injections right now because the results are so dramatic, at least if you believe everything you see online. And basically, these injections work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. But what if you're looking to lose weight, but you're not interested in painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of the side effects that come from using these injections? This is exactly why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are incredible. The studied ingredients in Lean have shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, and this is very important, Lean is not for the casual dieter who only has a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean specifically for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. So if that's you, let's get you started with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. All you have to do is visit takelean.com and enter detective for your discount. That's promo code detective at takelean.com. Listen, we all go through rough patches. Maybe it's a breakup, maybe it's something at work, could be burnout, or even just that creeping anxiety that doesn't let you sleep at night. And you're late thinking, I wish I had someone to talk to who actually gets it. I know I've been there. I've talked to you guys about it before, and I know how powerful therapy can be. Not only for me, but for my friends, for my family. And for the people that are close to me who are really struggling and needed help, honest, getting access to the right therapist, it could be a nightmare. You call around, people aren't taking new clients, they're not in network, or it costs a fortune. And that's where Rula comes in. Rula is really changing the game. They make high quality mental health care accessible and affordable. Most people pay only $15 a session, and they take most major insurance. All you have to do is answer a few quick questions, and you're matched with a licensed professional who meets your preferences, and you can be talked to someone as soon as the next day. Rula has over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists in their network, so finding the right person will not be a problem. And the best part about Rula is they don't just leave you hanging after that. They actually stay with you, checking in on your progress and making sure you're getting what you need out of therapy. Whether it's a therapist or even a psychiatrist to help with medication management, Rula's got you covered. So if you've been thinking about therapy, or even if this is the first time you're considering it, take this as your sign. Thousands of people have already used Rula to finally get the care they needed. So don't keep putting it off. Go to rula.com/detective and get started today. That's RULA.com/detective. Take the step, get connected, and take control of your mental health. All right, we're back. And in 2017, investigators turned to new technology in hopes of generating leads. They hired Parabon Nanolabs, a DNA technology company in Virginia that specializes in DNA phenotyping, a process that allows investigators to predict physical appearance and ancestry. And I've talked about this before in other cases, but the first case that I had any experience with phenotyping from Parabon specifically was the case of Faith Hedgepeth, which I covered on Breaking Homicide, and that was a murder out of North Carolina. Really fascinating stuff. You're going to see some images in a few minutes, but what they can do and how they can potentially show you an actual image of the person you're looking for based on DNA, it's pretty cool stuff, and it's only getting better each and every day. Now, using that DNA from Al's case, Parabon created what's called a snapshot profile. This included predictions for ancestry, eye color, hair color, skin tone, freckling, and even face shape. All of that was combined to produce a composite image of what the person of interest may look like at 25 years old. That profile suggested the suspect in Al's case was of Southeast European descent with fair skin, brown or hazel eyes, brown or black hair, and a few freckles. But investigators knew that the killer would now be older than 25, so they also created an age-progressed version to reflect what he may look like in 2017. But even with all of that, the images did not lead to a suspect. 2 years later, in 2019, retired investigator Paul Holes took a closer look at Al's case for his show, The DNA of Murder on Oxygen. As part of the show, he worked with intelligence analyst Julie Quinn to look specifically at the binding and torture elements of the case. What was interesting in the show was that Quinn explained there was a form of foot beating called falaka that could have been used on Al. It's used in Turkey both to extract information and to maintain compliance. While a cane or switch is typically used, she noted that the honing rod found in the sink would be comparable to the tools used in that method. She also went on to note that the way Al was tied was, quote, very specifically linked to a militant organization in Turkey known as the Turkish Hezbollah. I do want to note that that group disbanded in the early 2000s and many of its members fled the region. But based on that information, investigators considered the possibility that Robert Cooper may have been one of those individuals. And while Quinn was developing a profile on the suspect based on his actions, Holes also sent off that blood sample from the crime scene and had it analyzed again for ancestry. And the results suggested the suspect's lineage could be tied to the Balkan region, which includes parts of Turkey. Taking all of that together, the DNA, the bindings, the torture, and the reported Romanian accent, Holes stated that Cooper was a member of that Turkish Hezbollah at one point and then immigrated to the United States. That the offender was no longer so assault victims on his own, and that Al was simply the person he chose. Detectives working the case have looked into that theory, and as far as I know, they have not been able to rule it out. And it's an interesting theory, and I agree with Paul as far as it being a strong possibility. If everything is as it appears and you take into consideration Quinn's profile of the suspect, it does seem to align. Now, couple that with the ancestry results, and you may have something. There's no doubt about it. It's also possible that he wasn't a member of this Turkish Hezbollah, but he had a fascination with them. Maybe he was a fan from afar based on his ancestral background. We don't know. He may have not actually been a member of that group, but always wanted to be. And this was his way of carrying out some of the acts that they did when they were together on his own terms in the United States. So I wouldn't say definitively, yeah, if you want to find this guy, you got to find the members of the Turkish. And also one more thing that I mentioned that was interesting about the DNA of murder. During an interview, or he was murdered. I don't know if this is something that was put in his brain. He just thinks he remembers it, or it actually happened. But he told Paul during an interview that's in this episode that Al had actually said to him, not only was he going home to clean up, but he was also going to meet up with his roommate. So just another layer to this that supports the idea that Robert Cooper is the guy we're looking for. In 2019, Oxygen also reported that the department submitted the for genetic genealogy guy who can work to build out possible family trees in the hope of identifying, but they weren't able to identify distant relative, which detect theory that the suspect may not have even been from the U.S. Today, investigators are still trying to submit DNA database and get the suspect continue to increase. Unfortunately, is still out somewhere, and investigators are on the hunt for the monster only known as Robert Cooper. All right, let's dive into the perspective, and I have to apologize ahead of time. I have 4 pages of notes, and normally I can memorize most of it and talk directly to you guys. There's too much here, and I wrote this late at night, so my handwriting's not great. I have reviewed it, but if you see me looking down at my notebook, if you're watching on YouTube, I apologize. That's the reason why. So let's get into theories. I'm going to talk about 3 or 4 of them. There's probably 20 in this case, but I'm going to talk about the ones that are most prominent to me. First off, without going over it again, I think Paul holds his theory here as far as who this individual might be and their former affiliation. Completely possible. No way to dispute that. Even investigators working the case have said it's still a plausible theory. So we have that. We also have the fact that this could be a serial killer, someone who is a transient who travels throughout the country, has done a good job of not really tying themselves down to anyone. And yeah, they still could be from outside the country, but they're not staying in one location. They're traveling from town to town, state to state. They're identifying soft targets, maybe using similar patterns like buying a burner phone, saying they want to rent an apartment or a house, locating individuals who live alone and maybe are a little bit more friendly and willing to let their guard down, people who see the best in others, and they take advantage of that. And this person may have a fetish with torturing. They may even have a fascination or be a fan of the Turkish Hezbollah, even if they're not an actual member, and they may have practiced or studied the different torture techniques that they would use, and their gratification comes from implementing those techniques on different victims. And so this monster comes into town, spends about a month or 2 there, makes some phone calls, finds a soft target, eventually goes in, kills their victim, takes as little money as possible, and make sure they clean the scene, leave no paper or digital trail, and then they move on to the next state. And so how do we address that? And I think the FBI is probably already doing it. We look for similar patterns in cases throughout the country. Are there similar modus operandi that are happening in different states or different regions of the world where you can potentially identify someone who has a similar description who has carried out similar crimes? I'd like to think if they had, they may announce it at this point, or it could be something where this guy's so good, they have multiple cases, but it's the same story. In all the different places, they have a description. He goes by a weird name. And then ultimately, when they run the DNA, if there's any DNA, it comes back to no one. The guy's essentially a ghost. The third theory I want to talk about, which I didn't mention at all during the episode because it seems kind of commonsensical, who had an accident, who prepared, planned, and typically for what that is, I don't know. If I knew, or if investigators knew, maybe we wouldn't be here right now. But is it with people in your own lives that you think you know a guy, right? They're a good person, genuinely nice to everybody. Nobody has an issue with them, but behind the scenes that you're not aware of. Or maybe it's someone he's tied to, right? He was dating Linda. Did she have some enemies in her past? Did she have some secret admirers that they were unaware of? There's so many possibilities that Al was the victim of a crime because of something that happened years prior, maybe from him or somebody he was associated with. And so I would like to think at this point, with everybody involved, those theories have been thoroughly vetted, looking into Linda's past, looking into Mike's past, looking into the family members' past of Al, and also looking into Al directly as well, and seeing what's there. Was there anything that could have happened over the past, let's say, 5 years, where there might have been who, even though they were on the surface, there was an anger festering and looking for the right time to strike? Now, I say this theory one of the last years because I don't believe that's what happened here, but that's not my job to figure out what happened. My job is to explore all possibilities and make sure that if someone listens, they're there, we already did that. That's the answer I want. That's the reaction. I hope that, yeah, we'll be somebody connected to them. Like we did. That's what I'm hoping they're saying, because there's always a possibility they're watching on the other end. About that. Now, this is here, but I know it's happening, and it's concerning. It's not what you want, but scene. Maybe the ability to even speak foreign languages. Some phone to activate it, and then makes 100 phones on that one, knowing damn well law enforcement is going to be able to look at those calls. Maybe possible that those 100 phone calls and your visits that he made were all intended to look the one that chose. In reality, he was the target all along. Let me elaborate. What if there was something in Al's past, something that he had knowledge of? Again, I don't know what that would be. There was something in his personal life, or maybe a former profession, but something that this person was hired or knew crazy to think when took time. They knew the display the killer appeared to be on their squad. On the other hand, they made some really rookie mistakes. And you have to ask yourself, were they mistakes or were they intentional? I hope this is something that investigators are listening to right now going, I didn't think about that. That's an interesting angle. Well, what do we do with it? In addition to trying to develop a profile on the suspect, you have to develop a thorough profile on Al. That means going as deep as you can to find out what he was involved in, who he associated with, even if it was many years ago. Did he ever cross anybody? Did he ever witness anything? Was he involved in any type of government activity or political activity? Something where he may have overheard or saw something that there was an individual or a group of people out there that were concerned about. Am I crazy for saying this? Is this conspiracy? Maybe, but when you think about the person who carried out this crime, in my opinion, they're a professional. And so in addition to developing a profile on Al, we also have to look at the suspect, and I'm sure a thorough profile has been developed on him as well, as much as they can. But we also have to keep revisiting the DNA portion of this. We have the blood at the crime scene. We have the hair in the car. We also have the suspect taking a shower and using Al's vehicle, although he was wearing gloves. All of these things, whatever DNA was collected and preserved, technology is constantly changing, right? There's developments in artificial intelligence in conjunction with genealogy and ancestry databases where we're able to make connections that we were never able to make before. And even with small incremental amounts of DNA that were not usable in the past are now being utilized through new processes to develop a profile that can be used to identify the person that owns that DNA. And that's also where you guys can help as well by submitting your DNA. As I mentioned earlier, there are multiple databases out there like GEDmatch where you can upload your DNA profile and maybe it'll help solve a case. I actually did a live chat where I had the Ancestry kit in front of me because one of you asked me about it. And I literally got my results back like 2 days ago. And it's so fascinating. I learned so much about my ancestry, not only where I'm from, but also my potential ancestors. I even learned that I might have a small amount of Native American in me, which makes sense when you think about the settlers coming over here. And although it might not have been under good terms, considering those circumstances, I don't even want to think about it. It does appear that I have Native American in me, which is, I never knew that. It's crazy to think that. So if for no other reason than to learn more about yourself, you also have the ability to help out others and to maybe give some closure to some of these cases. So the more DNA samples that we have specifically from people who are of African-American descent or Latino descent, the higher chance we have of identifying these suspects where there's DNA in those cases. And in my opinion, if anything's going to solve this case, that's what it's going to be, the advancements of science and technology around DNA. I always say to you guys, maybe there's someone out there who knows something and just hasn't come forward yet. And that's still a possibility. But in my opinion, based on what we've learned about the suspect, they're not a bragger. They did what they did and they never talk about it again. They don't need to get validation from someone else. They don't need to vent and clear their mind or their conscience because of what they did. They have no moral compass. This was a transactional event. They went in, they did what they did, they got out, and they moved on and probably never spoke about it to anyone. But just to make sure we're covering our bases, I want to recap in case there is somebody out there. So just to recap, on May 22nd, 2004, 53-year-old Okie Albert Kite Jr. was killed inside his townhome in Aurora, Colorado after being bound and tortured for hours. The killer cleaned the scene, removed key evidence, and used Al's debit card to withdraw $1,000 before abandoning his truck nearby. DNA was recovered, but it has never been matched to anyone. Investigators identified a man using the name Robert Cooper, who had recently gained access to Al's home using false information. But more than 20 years later, Cooper has never been identified. Anyone with information in Al's case is asked to call the Metro Denver Crime Stoppers at 720-913-7867, or you can call your local FBI office. There is a $2,000 reward for information. My final words, as always, go out to the friends and family of Al. I know you guys are hurting, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. In some of these cases, there's a silver lining where you can say, oh, at least they didn't suffer or it was quick. We know that's not the case here. And unfortunately, there's nothing that I or anybody can do to change that. All we can do is continue to fight and not give up hope and try to find the person responsible for what happened to Al. Not only for him, not only for you, but for everybody. Because as long as there's a person like this out there capable of doing what they did to Al, nobody's safe. We need to find this person as soon as possible and make sure they never hurt anybody again. And I really do hope that one day I get the opportunity to sit right here and let all of you know that that's exactly what happened. Until then, everyone stay safe out there. I'll see you soon. On the morning of June 7th, 1997, 26-year-old Lori Beauvais had dinner with her husband and her sister at Red Lobster in Lakewood, New York. Around 12 hours later, her husband reported her missing, claiming she left their apartment in the middle of the night to go for a walk and smoke a cigarette. She was never seen or heard from again. Nearly 29 years later, Lori's disappearance remains unsolved, and her family is still searching for her. Hey everyone, welcome back to Detective Perspective. My name is Derek Levasseur. I'm a licensed private investigator and former police detective. Each week I'll be covering an unsolved case in story format. I'll then give you my perspective on the investigation and provide contact information for the individuals or organizations connected to the case so that if you have any tips, you can contact them directly and maybe you can help solve the case. So if you're someone who's interested in true crime, specifically unsolved cases, and you would like to hear my opinion on those investigations, please consider subscribing, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever platform you use. All right, Lori Beauvais. This case may sound familiar to some of you if you've been with me since the beginning, because between 1997 and 2008, 3 women went missing in Chautauqua County, New York, and one of them was Lori Beauvais, who we're going to talk about tonight. There was also Yolanda Bendix and Corey Anderson. And so if you've been with me, then you already know that I covered Yolanda's story. That was episode number 3. And I covered Corey's story as well. That was episode 65. And here we are. I haven't covered Lori's story yet. I'm going to do it tonight because although I think there are more prominent theories in all 3 of these cases, we have to consider the possibility due to the proximity that maybe they're connected. Maybe there's someone who's involved with all 3 of these cases and we just haven't identified them yet. But that's up to you to decide. I'm going to cover all the facts. We're going to talk about the case, and then we'll come to our own conclusions, and I will as well. I have a few theories I want to talk about here, and we'll discuss them, and then I'll wait to hear your comments on it. And I will say that out of all 3 of these cases, I do wish Lori's case had a little bit more meat on the bone, a little bit more information, so we could develop a more thorough opinion on what transpired and what may have taken place here. But we have what we have, and there is a person of interest and an insane twist in this story. So with that out of the way, let's dive into this week's case. Lori Seaside was born on November 26, 1970 to her parents Jim and Sue. She grew up in Chautauqua County, New York with her sisters Renee and Jennifer. Family members described Lori as someone who brought people together. She had a great personality and was always fun to be around. She was easygoing, selfless, and funny, and she had a way of making people feel better when they were down. After graduating high school, Lori began dating Tyrone Beauvais. Both of them were 19 years old at the time, and their relationship continued for several years until July 15th, 1995, when Lori and Tyrone got married. Even after getting married, Lori stayed extremely close with her family. She spoke to her sisters and mom every single day. At one point, Lori and Tyrone moved to North Carolina so that Tyrone could attend the police academy. He did not complete the training, so they returned to Chautauqua County, where they settled into an apartment on New York Avenue in Lakewood. Tyrone began working as a contractor, and Lori took a job at Kay Jewelers, where her sister Jennifer also worked. By the summer of 1997, Lori and Tyrone were preparing for several major milestones. They were scheduled to close on the house on June 30th, and just 2 weeks later, on July 15th, they would celebrate their second wedding anniversary. They were also talking about starting a family. Unfortunately, none of that would end up happening. On the evening of June 7th, 1997, Lori went to dinner with Tyrone, her sister Renee, and Renee's husband. The group ate at the Red Lobster on Fairmont Avenue in Lakewood to celebrate Renee's promotion. According to WGRZ, Renee recalled that Lori seemed tense throughout the evening. At around 10:30 p.m., the couples left the restaurant and returned to their homes. Lori's family would never see or hear from her again. At approximately 5 a.m. on June 8th, Tyrone called Lori's sister Jennifer and told her that Lori was missing. He said that after dinner, he and Lori had gotten into an argument, and at around 2 a.m., Lori left their apartment on New York Avenue to go for a walk and smoke a cigarette. According to Tyrone, she never came back. And that just didn't make sense to Jennifer. You see, Lori was scared of the dark. She wouldn't even take the trash out at night after they finished a shift at the jewelry store. So to go on a walk in the middle of the night seemed out of the question. So after receiving this call from Tyrone, Jennifer immediately calls her sister Renee to ask if Lori's with her, but Renee tells her no, she's not. So then Renee gets this call from Jennifer, and she decides to meet up with Tyrone, and the two of them drove around looking for Lori, but they weren't able to find her. By 11 a.m., there was still no sign of Lori anywhere, so Tyrone reported her missing to the Lakewood Police Department. And this is definitely a story that most of you have heard before, right? I know I have. And not just here on Detective Perspective, wherever you've consumed different cases, whether it's on other podcasts or through legacy media, I know I have as an investigator, right? The typical story. We argued, she or he left, I never saw them again, right? And a lot of people have asked me, when you hear something like this, are you immediately suspicious? And I think it can work both ways, right? On one hand, all depends on perspective, right? I think there are a lot more variables that are involved in this, but just looking at it from the story, on one hand, you could say, well, if this person did something to her, why would they divulge the fact that there was an argument right before she quote unquote disappeared? You know that's going to look suspicious. You know that's going to put a light on you. So why would you do that? If she's already dead, then there's no way she's going to dispute what you're saying. So just say, yeah, we were fine. I woke up. I don't know what happened. But by putting yourself out there and acknowledging that there was some type of disagreement prior to her dropping off the face of the earth, that's not good, right? But on the other hand, you could also say the fact this person is willing to divulge the law enforcement, even though it doesn't paint them in the best light, shows a level of transparency and credibility. Even though they know this probably will make them look suspicious, the fact that they're willing to put it out there shows that they want the same thing we want, which is to find their loved one as soon as possible. So I think it's a case-by-case basis. I think there are other variables that come into play when evaluating a level of suspicion from an investigator's perspective. If someone comes in and they're behaving in a certain way that's suspicious, they're not looking at me when they're speaking, they're kind of all scattered brain, maybe they got dirt or cuts on their hands, some other things that add context to this conversation, that may sway me one way or the other. But overall, I'm just going off the base facts at this point. We have a timeline, allegedly, when this person was last seen, and currently they're missing. That's where you start. And automatically, whether they make this comment or not about having an argument, the last person to see the person we're looking for alive, of course, they're going to be on the short list of persons of interest. That's just the nature of the beast. So when law enforcement hears this from Tyrone, they immediately start to search the Beauvais apartment, which is where you would start. You'd start at the foundation, you'd start at ground zero. And according to the Buffalo News, while inside, they noticed several of Lori's personal items had been left behind. Her purse, money, and cigarettes were all still there. And I know what you're thinking right off the jump. Okay, the cigarettes are there. So clearly Tyrone's lying, because if she went to smoke cigarettes, why would she leave her cigarettes behind? You could also say that maybe she took a couple of them with her and she knew she wasn't going to be gone long. So she took them and she left the pack behind. But I'm with a lot of you. I think the fact, even though this may seem minuscule, that the cigarettes were there, I do think it's important. I'm not a smoker. I've never been a smoker. I know there's probably some smokers watching or listening right now. So I want your opinion on this. Please weigh in. If you're going for a walk and you know you're only smoking a cigarette or two, are you taking the whole pack and putting the rest in your pocket? Are you taking 1 or 2 cigarettes and leaving the pack behind? What is the normal practice here? I know it's not going to be the same for everyone, but I'm truly interested in getting your perspective on this, because to me, if I'm going to take gum, I usually take the pack and stick it in my back pocket. I don't take 1 stick of gum unless I know I'm going to chew that gum for 2 seconds and then I'm going to be right back. But if I know I'm walking around for a little bit or going out, I'm going to take the whole pack with me. Is that the same for cigarettes, or am I looking too much into this, right? I also don't want to glance over the fact that her purse and money were there as well. In totality, with the purse, the money, and cigarettes, these are things that you would take if you didn't plan on coming back. If she had told Tyrone that she was leaving to go smoke a cigarette, but in reality she was taking off and was never going to come back again, I would think that she would have taken at minimum the money and probably the cigarettes. But she took nothing. So when we're talking about potential theories, and one of them being that she just left under her own free will and her intent was never to return, I think this piece of information, this evidence, if you will, put a big dent in the possibility that this is what transpired. In addition to her purse, money, and cigarettes, Lori's black 2-door 1989 Cutlass Oldsmobile Supreme was also parked at the apartment, and her sister noted that it had been clean when they went to dinner, but now it was dirty. So what does this mean? How deep look into this? Again, we don't have a lot to go off here, so let's dissect that a little bit. Renee saying that at dinner the car was clean, now it's dirty. There's always a possibility that she's misremembering. Renee could be wrong. Or if she's right, it could play into one of the theories we're going to discuss at the end of the episode. We'll get there. Despite everything I just told you, police didn't find any clear signs that a crime had occurred. And that makes sense when you really think about it. Yes, we have items that were left behind that would suggest Lori didn't leave on her own. She wasn't just taking off. But just because we have evidence to suggest that's not what occurred, it doesn't mean because we've ruled out that theory, automatically she was a victim of a crime or that there was foul play involved. You would usually look for a sign of struggle or some indication that the scene was cleaned up prior to law enforcement's arrival, and it doesn't appear that we have that. However, even with the absence of that type of evidence, a wide-scale search for Lori began. And for weeks, her family and multiple police departments searched extensively. Police used boats and dive teams to search Chautauqua Lake. A helicopter searched from the air, and dogs searched on the ground. But even with all these resources being deployed, there was no sign of Lori anywhere. We have a lot more to cover. Stick around. We'll be right back after the break. You've heard me talk about Hungry Root before, so you know how much I love it because it truly simplifies my life. As a busy parent who works a lot of hours, it's been such a game changer when it comes to reaching my health goals by doing all of my weekly food shopping with Hungry Root. Hungry Root plans all of my meals and groceries for the week, fills my cart, and delivers everything I'll need to eat healthy every day, all while fitting my health goals, dietary preferences, and budget. I recently told you guys about my favorite meal, which is kind of my go-to. Hey, listen, if it works, why switch it up? And that is the grass-fed ribeye steak, the microwavable ready russet potato. Again, I know some of you are going, wait, a microwave potato, I'm all set. Don't knock it till you try it. It tastes just as good as baking it in the oven. I promise you, one comments on this. I do the smart sweet as well. Basically, a little healthier, and they taste, honestly, in my opinion, they taste better. So it's convenient, it tastes good, helps me reach my health goals. What more could you ask for? And unlike other food delivery companies, offers over 50,000 chef-crafted recipes to choose from every week, with ready in just 15 minutes or less. And with 1,000 grocery items like smoothies, sweets, kits, salad kits, ready-to-eat meals, and supplements, it's insanely easy to find options that fit everyone's taste and nutrition goals. Hungry Root also holds all its food to high standards, screening out over 200 additives, including high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives. They source only high-quality meat and seafood with no hormone, antibiotics, or for organic non-GMO options, and trust Ithaca Hummus, Harmless Harvest, and many more. You're definitely going to love